Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Donna. Thank you so much for clicking on my video today. For those of you not new, thank you so much for continuing to support my channel. I am doing the next installment in my Palette Roulette series where I use a palette for the week and create as many looks as I can with this palette, use all the shadows I can in the palette, and yeah. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Urban Decay Electric palette. This is what it looks like. This is one of the very first palettes I ever purchased. This was a palette that I purchased 2 Decembers ago, and I purchased it because I absolutely fell in love with the colors within this palette. I was actually searching for a Christmas gift for my daughter and came across this and knew my daughter wouldn't wear it, but thought I needed to have it. When I got it in, I was like, whoa, those colors. But ended up using it almost every single day from that point for like a good solid 3 months, because my partner in crime, my man friend, said, just like you, to buy things that are pretty but never use them. So I thought I'd show him. So this is what the palette looks like on the inside. It does have a pretty awesome mirror. We do have a great menagerie of color here. I think that anybody who has this palette in their collection will tell you that they will never get rid of this palette. I also am in that boat. I will never get rid of this palette. So this is a palette that Urban Decay had to list as a pressed pigment shadow, or pressed pigment palette, and not an eyeshadow palette, because there are 4 colors in this palette that are not, quote unquote, not safe for your eyes. Those colors are Slow Burn, Savage, Jilted, and Urban. They are Slow Burn, Savage, Jilted here, and Urban here. I will tell you that I have not had a problem putting these colors on my eyes. I do know that they will stain your eyes. I will give you that, and it doesn't matter what you put underneath it, it will stain your eyes. I've used them with and without primer, and they stain. There's quite a bit of eye stainage. I do have Slow Burn on my lower lash line today. I did get a little bit of it in my eye, which was disheartening, but my eye is watering a tad bit. But this eye, if I'm being honest with you, waters all the time. I do note that it is causing some deconstruction of the shadow that's on the upper lid. This eye waters all the time. I have a serious eye water issue with this eye, so I don't think it has anything to do with that shadow. I do love the mirror that comes with this palette because it is huge. It is humongous. And you can see everything with this mirror. This palette of mine is quite a bit dirty. I do have several videos on my channel using this palette. This palette brought my friend Lisa and I together, and we did recently, actually, we did a collab together using this palette where we each picked each other's shadows to use. So let's go through some of these shadows. This one here, which is Savage, is probably one of my favorite colors in the palette. I use it quite often. It is a matte, a true matte shadow. All the rest of them feel super buttery soft. This one doesn't. It has a little bit of grippiness to it, so I'm not sure what that's all about, because there are other mattes in the palette, so it's not just about that shadow being matte. Revolt, this silver here, is the only one with glitter in it. The rest of them that are kind of metallic-y or shimmery are more of a satin finish than an actual metallic or shimmer finish to them. The rest of it, this one is the one, I just have such a hard time using slow burn because slow burn does not look amazing with my skin tone. Other than that, I used every single color in this palette. But the two eye looks that I created with slow burn, you will not see a picture of because I absolutely hated those eye looks. I absolutely hated them. And maybe I should have put them in here so that you guys could have seen them, so that you could tell me whether you also hated them. But this color just does not look good with my skin tone. Other than that, I can say I think that all of these colors would look good on most all skin tones. And if you can get like a crazy yellow green to work for you on your skin tone, this is an amazing yellow green. This is the only like chartreuse color in any palette that I have that I can actually get to look green on my eye. Today I am wearing this color as like a brow bone-esque color. I do have a little bit of my ABH highlight up in the actual brow bone, but I am also wearing this color in my crease, and this is a satin that I am wearing in my crease. I have this color here on my lid, and it has Revolt here in the center of my lid. I'm not saying that I 100% love this eye look, but I do love this eye look. I love this palette. If you can get your hands on it, I would say this palette is 100% worth it. It's only got 10 shadows in it, but it's got a good matte to, you know, satin ratio. And like I said, this one's the only one that has glitter in it, and the glitter doesn't like flake all over the place. The rest of them are either mattes or satins. So this palette has 10 pans in it, and each one of those pans is 1.2 grams of product, or you're getting 0.04 ounces of product in each one of these pans, which is the same as a ColourPop shadow. I know when I purchased this palette, it was on sale for $19, so for me that was pretty awesome. Each one of the pans was roughly $1.90 a piece, so less than $2 a piece. It was going out of stock at that point in time, and like I said, I don't know that you can get this palette anymore, but if you could, it is a good palette to pick up. Mine came with a nice dual-ended brush that I don't know where it is at this point in time, but that is what went here in the center of this palette. Some days I used a primer on my eyes, some days I did not. I didn't find any difference of the staying power on my eyes dependent on whether I was using a primer or not. I did find that it was easier to apply when I was using a primer. I also didn't see any difference on whether the shadows stained my eyes or not. I also did not use, I know I went into this last week thinking I was going to have to use some of my other shadows to help me with the shadows in that palette, because they were all crazy colors, but I didn't use any of my single shadows. So let's talk about the shades. I did swatch all the shades for you. So this is the first set of shades. This one here on top is Revolt. Like I said, that is the only like shimmer in the palette. The next one here is Gonzo. It is a beautiful like turquoise blue color. This shade here is Slow Burn. It is a nice like red orange, mostly orange matte color. This one's also a matte. And that is probably why it just doesn't look good on my skin. I have a really yellow tone to my skin, and honestly, oranges they just don't look great on my skin. This one here is Savage. It is a nice matte pink color. And then this one here is Fringe. It is a turquoise, but more like green blue satin. It is a really, really pretty color, and it's what is on my lids today. So in this row here, you're looking at 1 satin, 3 mattes, and 1 shimmer color. This is the second row. This one here is Chaos. Chaos is a nice blue, like true blue matte shade. This one here is Jilted. It is a pretty satin pink color. I wear this in my crease often. I do love it as a crease color. The next one here is Urban. It is a beautiful sheeny satin purple color. I love this purple. This purple has set the tone for almost every other purple in my collection. It's just got that really pretty sheeniness to it, but it's not a shimmer, so it is definitely a satin, and it is just so pretty. The next one here is Freak. I love greens. Green is one of my favorite colors, and this is one of my favorite greens. It again is a satin finish green, and it is just super pretty. I'm fighting the daylight over there. Sorry, guys. And then this last one here is Thrash, and it is a matte, like chartreusey green color. On the row that I just went through, you have 3 satin shades, which are these 3 in the middle here, and then you have 2 mattes. So this palette has 5 mattes and 5 what you would consider satin shades, and while that Silver Revolt does have a little bit of a glitter in it, it does not show it on the skin, which is probably why you don't have a lot of fallout, and it performs more like a satin. It is on the center of my eyelids today. This eye is watering so badly right now that this corner portion of my eye look is going to poop. I love this palette. I can't say anything bad about this palette. Like I said, I think that it is a great palette for a person who has all colors in, you know, a plethora of colors in their collection, because these are colors I have not been able to duplicate in my collection, which is quite extensive. But also for a person who has a lot of neutral colors in their collection, I think this would be an amazing palette to have for that pop of color that we're seeing in a lot of neutral palettes, only to get different pops of color than what you can get in another palette. I have not been able, like I said, to duplicate the colors in this palette. I have some really pretty teal blues in my collection, but none of them compare to this one. I have some really pretty, like, green blues in my collection, but none of them compare to this one here. And this one is just a really pretty satin color. So the Urban Decay website says, from ultra smooth mattes to high dimensional shimmers. I really don't find those to be shimmers. I find them to be more of a satin finish. They do have a lot of sheeniness to them, but there is not really a shimmer to them. It says each velvety shade delivers insane color payout, which I find to be correct. The only one that I find that isn't a velvety color is this pink here, which is Savage. It does have a little bit more grippiness to it than any other of the shades in there. And Urban Decay is a 100% cruelty-free brand of makeup, even though I don't see it listed on the back of this palette, which is weird. I think that you can get it at Poshmark or any of the other, like, resale locations. eBay, you could probably find it on. Just be careful. Be careful with all of those, because all of those sell knockoffs that maybe aren't going to be safe for you. So with that being said, and with the daylight kind of creeping its way in here more and more, I want to make sure that we spin our wheel. I use the Wheel Decide app. I have a Samsung Note 9, so this app is in my Play Store. It is a free app. I just put all of my palettes into this wheel and then spin it to decide. This series was inspired by the Palette a Week series that Dani from Danibo, which is her channel name, this series was inspired by her. She uses a spin the wheel app as well. Hers is just different. I believe she has an iPhone. I don't. So hers is from the App Store that is for iPhones, and it's the same kind of app. You put all your information that you want the wheel to decide on in your wheel, and then you spin it by just pressing the button, and it spins for the next palette. So we have this week the Natasha Denona. I know that you guys can't see it, but it is the Natasha Denona Lila palette that it has chosen. So let me go get that palette really quick. So this is the Natasha Denona Lila palette. I think it's called Lila. It's Lila, so I'm going to say Lila. It's either Lila or Lila, one or the other. And this is what it looks like inside. It does have this little flappy thing connected to it, which I thought was genius when I first got this palette. This was a palette that was picked up for me by my children. They purchased it for me for my birthday, I think last year, not my last birthday, but the birthday before. So this is this palette, and I think that this is going to be a great palette to dive into this week. I've used a little bit of these shadows, but not a lot of these shadows, honestly, and I'm excited to try it next week. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this by giving me a big thumbs up. I hope that you enjoyed this. I do spend a lot of time on these videos and find that they're probably my least watched video, but I do love doing this series. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I hope that you liked me enough, or this series enough, or my channel enough that you would consider subscribing to my channel. If not, that's totally okay too. I'm just so happy that you were here to join us today and you clicked on my video. I know that you guys don't have to do that, so it warms my heart so very much that you do. And I am going to see you in my next video, you guys. I am fighting this sunlight, so I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you again so much for joining me today. Please consider liking and subscribing. I hope I see you in the comments section, but until next time, guys, bye. The rest of them are either mattes or satins. Satins? Oh my gosh. This lighting, I'm so sorry. I didn't find any difference of the same powder